and have a great discussion.
Okay, hello everyone. I think that today we'll have a very, very hot discussion in one of the topics that actually is circulating across all the brains in the financial sector right now, because actually it's quite challenging and new from one part. Another part, it also creates some more opportunities for the industry to grow, for the country to allocate. And today we'll be discussing a very hot topic in regarding the crypto assets regulation and how companies are preparing themselves to be able to work in the new type of environment, because starting from the beginning of the year, new regulation coming into force, and finally all the companies working in the crypto asset area will be absolutely legit, and they are welcoming to apply for the licensing across whole EU. And today I would like to start our conversation from the point of where we are in our ecosystem of the fintech and where we are with our ecosystem of the crypto asset services, how Latvia is prepared, what is the main insights from the industries that you can share. Stine, I would like to give you the first word because you are running the Fintech Association in Latvia and doing huge and amazing job to keep this community. So pretty sure that you know a lot of interesting facts.
Thank you, Marine. Hi, everyone. So where we are with the fintech and crypto, let's start with the fact that we are sitting on a Gravity team stage. so that's for one. And I think that we are in a very, very, very good point at this moment. We know that the regulation for transition into MiCA regime has been adopted. The Bank of Latvia has already been doing free pre-licensing consultations starting from the middle of the last year. We know that our legal advisors are well equipped to help the crypto asset companies to obtain a license in this jurisdiction. Not to mention that we also have created a regime for the supporting service providers like payment service providers to connect to the international payment system directly via the central bank without having to go through the commercial banks. So those would be the main legal steps that have been taken. A fun fact, and not maybe fun fact, but a nice fact to have is also that the Parliament has supported the payment of share capital of companies in cryptocurrencies. So kudos to Latvian Blockchain Association, and hence we are coming to my kind of closing point for this intro, is that we have the regulatory framework in place, we have the super supportive regulator, open to dialogue, open to help. We have helpful legal advisors, and which is also very important, we have very active ecosystem. If we're speaking about fintech and crypto, then there is not only one association, but there is even two very active associations that are supporting all this movement. So yes, and the main achievements for crypto have been driven by the Blockchain Association, and we have a board member here, Mārtiņš, so he can probably add something.
Yeah, please, you may continue. Actually, maybe also we're just seeing that you have been doing an active job, and you will also see what is actually happening on European arena, and what you see, what other companies are looking for, how would be their choices to be establishing companies, for example, more in Latvia rather than somewhere in Portugal or in France or whatever.
Mm-hmm. As mentioned, first of all, I am Chief Legal Officer of Gravity Team, but also I'm board member of Latvian Blockchain Association. And in the past couple of years, we have seen how actually the attitude from the regulator and from the government has greatly changed towards the crypto industry. And that is actually one big point that could differentiate Latvia when we compare it to other states in the EU. Because I would like to say that Latvia is very welcoming for crypto. As Tina already mentioned, we have a very unique thing here that we can pay up a company share capital with crypto. That is something that you can do only in Latvia. And that is a huge step forward for Latvia as a crypto-friendly country, I would say. But when we compare to other countries and what the companies are looking for, there are many aspects, and there are some in which Latvia is better, there are some in which other countries are better, but what I can definitely say is that Latvia is one of the most prepared countries from the regulatory perspective. There are a lot, and I mean not one or two, but quite a few countries still in Europe that are not ready to accept applications yet. I believe that some of them have not even adopted the local regulation governing how the MiCA will be applied where it is needed. But I can say that Latvia is actually miles ahead when we compare it to other countries. Of course, historically, Latvia has not been that friendly, and because of that, the name is not yet kind of mentioned in the same sentences where other crypto-friendly jurisdictions like Portugal and France are mentioned. But I would say that if I look on a more granular perspective and what each of these countries have done, then those other countries are not far ahead, really. No. Latvia is right beside them. We just need to get out the first MiCA licenses and get the word out that here this is a really good place to do it.
Yes, I absolutely actually agree with it. It's a very fragmented situation right now, how the countries are preparing. And also we see that there are different setups, companies who are operating in the crypto environment with different business models, who are trying to choose still the solutions where the company should be developed, what kind of new services to be provided. And in this sense, it would be also interesting to know, Sofian, your view, because you're already a long time on the market, and it's interesting to see that still the investments in this area are in place. And how do you see, is it Latvia as a country could be an attractive place that can attract those companies from abroad that could establish here a really place and create new startups and new services? And is it still also attractive for the investors? Because it is a very specific niche of the financial sector.
Hello everybody. I think that's a complex question that we all look answer for, but I would like to approach this topic from a bit more practical perspective, because there's it's great and it's an excellent development in the country that had been through ups and downs in terms of banking industry, in terms of financial services. It's great to have developed regulatory readiness, eagerness from different associations, the framework and so on, but that still is a theory. And I think what Mārtiņš correctly noticed, that the real things will start when the first licenses will start coming up, when we will have 2, 3, 5 companies that have already gone through that in Latvia, and they have started their operations, when they can actually see how these operations can work. The issue that we see as well is up until 2025, there was a lot of gray area in terms of actual crypto business. And there were just several countries, several crypto havens around Europe that, okay, we all go to Estonia, then, okay, we all go to Lithuania and so on. Now, Latvia is competing with many larger countries with robust and experienced regulatory bodies. And I think the challenge will be to basically convince those bigger guys why they would come to Latvia. We've seen all the rumors that, for example, Binance itself was discouraged by Lithuanians, and they're like, okay, we'll go to Latvia. Lithuanians got pissed, but that comes from basically the attitude of a regulator, where for 12 months we've heard in Lithuania that we don't want any crypto here. And at the same time, Latvian regulator was being on the other side of that story, where, yeah, we want to hear crypto. I've attended Fintech Forum Days a few months back, and I've heard Latvian governor, Mr. Kazak, saying openly on the stage that crypto come to Latvia, and that kind of message is very important, but the practice will really show. Another part of this is where education will really come forward from the regulator, from the associations, to tell all those crypto projects who are like, yeah, we have been working in crypto, we've done this and that, and we want to get a license and work locally. They are in for a big surprise, because the regulatory burden, end of the day, the expectations on stuff like corporate governance, compliance framework and stuff like that, it's massive. It's still huge, and these companies will have to adjust, but they need to be handheld at some point to basically be taught what to do, how to do it. And our experience with that, as we've run regulated business for many years, for both crypto and fiat services, I was very, very surprised by Latvia's Banka, actually, speaking to them many times, and this week as well, which is great openness for, you call them up, you can get the meeting, that's great. But I was very happy to hear that actually one statement: we will work it out together. And with that kind of attitude, I think if we can make it loud enough, Latvia could be really competitive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that actually we are forming this industry together, because if we look to the Latvian story, we did a lot. And actually it is one of the best countries that currently Europe can manage the risk, because we have a lot of lessons learned, and we train our muscles in a way that we can now take different kind of projects and risk and understand how the manage is in a most better way. In this sense, you mentioned that there are companies who are coming from Lithuania to Latvia, from other countries. We really see there is kind of shoppings, and startup always like shopping. And you also mentioned that the MiCA itself is quite comprehensive, the regulation itself. And in this sense, I would like to address the question to all of you. So do you see that this industry, the financial industry, is very regulated itself? It is like more a regulatory burden. It is more like a challenge for the industry itself, for the services from the customers, or it is more like a new type of opportunity where financial markets could develop. So it is a kind of balance between innovation and risk-taking. So what are your views?
Maybe I will start. Well, of course, I agree with Sofian that, what we have declared now is that, we are ready. Please come. We are waiting for you. Come and register and get your license. But only time will tell how it will go. But I think that this eagerness from the regulator and politicians is a very important signal, and not many countries have it. But now, answering your question, whether it is a challenge or a kind of an advantage, it's like, of course, startups in any area is difficult as it is. If we come to Fintech and crypto being Fintech, it's of course even more complex, because on top of having to build a new business as such, you also have to deal with the regulatory framework, and that might be challenging. And I hope that here we can bring in some, in one way or another, the ecosystem support to help those newcomers to tackle this. But to answer whether it can be turned into an advantage, well, looking at the examples from other fintech sub-segments, for instance, peer-to-peer lending, where there was no regulation, and still isn't a regulation, but that there is licensing procedure in Latvia. I believe that those companies have managed to turn this regulatory requirement burden or challenge into advantage, because now they can say that we are very heavily regulated, we are safe for your investments. So it's up to the companies how to turn this compliance with the regulator, with the regulatory requirements into advantage and into a marketing tool.
I would probably add to that, and that's, you're very right about that, but what I would add to this is I consider it both challenge and opportunity. The challenge, obviously, as I mentioned, will be facing what companies have to do. But if you look a bit more long-term than just, get the MiCA license and start working, providing your crypto services all around, I do not imagine a situation where crypto from still a niche industry, a niche market, would be able to be present in our everyday life without an actual regulation. I was thinking to myself the other day, what do I have to do to go to Pet City, where you buy stuff for your dog, and be actually able to pay with crypto? And these guys, grocery shopping, restaurants, they're not going to go into something that they may get punished by tax authorities, for example. They're not going to go into something that is unknown, that is a gray area, and so on. So on one hand, yes, it does kill a bit of the principles of crypto and blockchain, decentralization, independence, no control, and so on. That is true. And many people will be sorry for that, and that's why they will be against the regulation. But on the other hand, if you truly want crypto, digital assets in all sort of forms to be present in our daily lives, it is necessary to have some sort of regulation. And at this point, crypto is used in many different ways, and I have I don't doubt, I have no hesitation why it was made, as strong as financial services, because you can do a lot with crypto, good and bad stuff. But as a believer in the technology, in the assets, in blockchain, I'm actually very happy that we are able to pursue that, and I hope that this will open the door for really new opportunities.
Yeah, well, I agree, of course, what both of you are saying, but maybe I can offer a bit different point of view. I think that MiCA is actually an opportunity to create a bit more efficient, but pretty much very similar banking system. We're putting crypto in the same kind of same regulation that we have already for traditional finance, and probably it could be a good thing to create a more efficient financial system, but it still will be quite far away from what was the intention of the crypto initially. So as Sofian's mentioned, decentralization is pretty much niche, very niche thing right now, and we're centralizing all of this even more with regulation and excluding smaller players from the market, because compliance is expensive and it's hard. Not everybody can do it. Probably most of the companies won't be able to do it. So it is an opportunity for something, but maybe not what was intended with the crypto initially. And I'm not sure myself if it's in the end, if it's a good thing or bad thing. That we will probably see in years, in 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah, I'm absolutely agree with you. And you also mentioned that, okay, so we now have those crypto world and fiat world, and now actually we have just financial market, because those are absolutely legalized business activity and services. And in this sense, Tina, maybe you can elaborate a bit more. Do you see that there is any kind of changes to be made in some infrastructure, in some policies, or banking infrastructure to speed up this crypto development, or does there requires any changes in this area in terms of those crypto and fiat activities?
Well, I think that there is still a bit of prejudice to be overcome in terms of collaboration with the traditional financial system, and the rest. I think that, like, if we're speaking for the Latvian regulatory environment, then I think what had to be done is done there now, and then. By accepting these new market entrants and trying to work in this environment, probably we will still learn about new things that need to be changed. But other than that, maybe more technically, Mārtiņš and Sofian can add.
Well, before I go there, I would really like to elaborate Mārtiņ's thought that And it's a bit of a controversial thing. Could it be that worldwide regulators, they just latched onto blockchain because they wanted to control it? They latched onto that crypto because they found it as a competition to the system that was created. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it could be, as Mārtiņš said, good or bad, but it's a very interesting theory overall that, the main motivation is to control it, to help to develop it. But I guess we are finding out every month with, at least in Latvia, that I think wishfully it is for the development. But when speaking about infrastructure and TradFi, traditional finance, legacy banks and things like that, I think the change will come at some point. I do hope so, that we will be able to remove this high-risk label from anything that is crypto connected. That once it actually is within some sort of regulatory framework, financial institutions will be able to say, well, these guys are regulated, they're doing what they're doing, but now it's not something that is uncontrolled by anybody, by any regulatory bodies. And I think that will change. It will not change fast. I speak also to some local banks here in Latvia, and as much as they already are like, okay, we are crypto friendly, it's not there yet. It's definitely not there yet. We've been trying to do it, provide financial services for crypto companies for years, but we are not a bank, at least not yet. And maybe we don't want to be one because of this resistance towards that industry. Here, the message goes top to down, top to the bottom, and if it starts with the regulator saying that this is okay, the banks will slowly start changing, infrastructure will start to be built. But obviously, it's not only about financial infrastructure. One of the main obstacles that I see here in Latvia currently by building a crypto business is access to human resource. When we think about the requirements that were put against, you need to have experienced crypto lawyers, experienced crypto AML staff, and I'm like, where are we going to take it from if it didn't exist in Latvia first? So definitely there is a long way. I think there's needed participation from not only regulator and associations. I think it is a bigger picture where universities will come in, where other companies will start producing this kind of competence, which will be necessary for bigger companies to come in. Because imagine that we will need, 10, 12 people that are experienced. But if a company like Binance comes in, they will be looking at the market and thinking, can we get 100 crypto-native AML specialists? Probably not at this stage. So I think that this could be one of the very, very important part of the infrastructure or the overall readiness of the market to accept the big guys. And I guess this is what we want.
And what would be your suggestions, for example, to those who are not such large companies as the Binance, but so startups that they are currently are working in Latvia, but they need to apply. So what to do for them? So what would be the solution?
We're trying to figure this out myself, really, to be honest. I think the solution is to really have conversations with a lot of different partners, counterparties that you can get some help from when building infrastructure or getting people. But we need to be very loud about this. We need to also bring that message over to international waters where we want to say, we're happy for conversation, both regulators, private companies, private sector, and associations in between to make sure that a big company knows that there's somebody to talk to and somebody to get help from. Otherwise, it's difficult. And this is actually how we have ended up in Latvia, where originally we were planning to pursue our licensing, or we had operation in another country. But we received that message, and myself being based here, it helped definitely. But the message was loud and clear, and that's how we ended up here.
Which of the marketing channels worked? Please tick the box. Which of the marketing channels worked for you?
Latvian Blockchain Association, 100%. Definitely the messages from the regulator, and then I think some sort of peer knowledge, speaking to peers in the market. And Latvian fintech community is very rich. There is a lot of people who have company who are taking part in the industry, be it crypto, financial services, hundreds of them, and probably about 5% of them have entities in Latvia. So that also tells you something. That's very historical. But I hope that this percentage will grow, and we want to be on the forefront of that. But it has to change for Latvia to really be able to grow in that industry.
Mārtiņš, would you like to add something? You are a legal expert. Most probably you are the best person who knows what are the big challenges the companies meet right now. Is it like access to talents, or it is like access to equity, or it is, again, those same compliance questions?
I think, well, in some regard, of course, all of those questions are important. But currently, if we're sitting on the stage and talking about the MiCA regulation, I would say that if you are in a licensed business and you need that license, probably at this moment it is the most pressing question for you, because you have some time. You have in Latvia 6 months, right, before when the grandfathering period ends, and during that you need to get your AML processes in order, which is a hard thing to do. You need to get your information security in order, which is probably at some point even more difficult thing to do, as I recently discovered. But yeah, it's not an easy thing to be regulated. It's not an easy thing to be compliant, to understand that you now need to do things not only in a proper way, but in a way that can be audited afterwards, and that in a way that in which you can prove somebody that you are doing the proper things. So. That's a huge challenge, I think, that currently the companies are undergoing. And yeah, as I mentioned before, a lot of them at some point, unfortunately, will understand that maybe this is no longer a right business for them. And that's the downside of MiCA.
Well, I agree with you. Actually, we see that the financial services is always in this hard regulative environment, and as you mentioned, the DORA is also coming into already is applicable for the companies who are working also in the crypto sectors. It's also a heavy one regulation. But instead of those heavy burdens that will be on the compliance, if we will look into the 5 years perspective, could you just, each of you, very quickly to underline what would be, from your perspective, one very specific factor that may happen that Latvia is a crypto hub after 5 years?
Publicity. I think that it's the most important factor. We have done already quite a lot. We have done already more than a lot of countries have done, but unfortunately we still lack global visibility on that thing. And I am going to crypto conferences quite regularly. I have been talking with people from different places, and I have been telling them what we are doing, and they are always impressed by what is happening. And like I mentioned, company share capital pay up with the crypto, and we're talking also about possibility to pay taxes with crypto and so on. And these are kind of cutting edge things that other countries are not doing, and we just need to get more information out about that. And if we succeed, and if we give out a couple of licenses so quickly, then the word will spread.
Yeah, I will go with a track record, a positive track record that will be the best publicity that the country may have. Once we will never be able to start with the largest player that will come all of a sudden to Latvia and do something. We'll have to start with the local entrepreneurs who actually want to do something, want to build something. We need to help them and find a way how they can succeed. And we need to make sure that what the things that the country is doing with crypto is efficient. I had an interesting experience setting up a company in Switzerland with founding capital, also being able to pay in crypto, took us about 3 times longer than if we were just sending Swiss francs. So making sure that these innovative things are working well, creating that track record, all the world will be talking about it, I have no doubt.
Yes, I agree on the marketing that I have been repeating all the time, but I think that still the key factor is how the regulator is able to onboard. Like looking in the business terminology, you need clients in the ecosystem, clients being the crypto companies who you have licensed. So I think this will be the key, how the regulator will be able to do it in a very collaborative manner and bring the companies up to the speed and have those first nice pitch cases for our ecosystem.
Okay, thank you very much. So we are actually precise on time, and I would like to thank your as an ecosystem, as industries and as association for the collaboration in this area, because I think it's very, very crucial when we're meeting new regulation and opening doors for new interesting sector. Thank you so much for the discussion. You got, I think, very valuable insights today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.